Welcome. Today we are going to practice the following exercise. We are going to be creating a value scale using white colored pencil in 6 different steps, and then we are going to be creating a sphere using the picture that I've shared online. You might wish to print it out, or you can just look at it on your computer screen, whatever you are comfortable with. So to get started, you're going to take your black piece of paper. Ideally, it should be 6 inches by 9 inches, but if it's a little bit bigger or smaller, it's okay. We can work with that. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take a regular pencil and my ruler, and I'm going to mark out my 6 inches. The white colored pencil does not erase very easily from the black paper, so I think it's better to use the regular pencil first, and then I'm going to go down to the bottom of the page here and mark out 1 inch and 1 inch. And then I'm going to make my 6 boxes. The goal of having you make this value scale is to get you comfortable using the white colored pencil, seeing how to properly blend it and control the range of value. So now I'm going to start out at the top, much like I've done here, and I'm going to use small circular marks with my colored pencil and try to go the same direction. So I'm going horizontally here. You're going to go back over this again later to kind of strengthen the white, the brightness of it. This is going to be our lightest value. It gets a little confusing when you're working with white colored pencil because normally when you push down this hard it would be your darkest value. But instead this is your lightest, brightest area. So we're kind of thinking in reverse a little bit. So now that I've gotten that down, I'm actually going to go back over it going the other direction. You might notice that it starts to look a little bit waxy, and that's called burnishing, where it kind of brings out the waxy, shiny quality of the color pencil. These are really good color pencils, the ones that I provided you in the kit, the Prismacolors. They're soft, they're rich. If you were to try doing this with, a Crayola or just a generic kind of colored pencil, you would notice that you would not be able to achieve such intense white on the page because it's more of a hard pencil. So make sure you're using the pencils that I've provided, or if you have your own high quality pencil at home that you prefer to use, but the Prismacolors are really one of the best. And then I can even go back over it the opposite direction again to further increase the white. Again, keeping the same direction. I'm really using the side of the pencil, and it was nice and sharp when I began. And then I'm going to start step 2. Again, initially kind of all going the same direction. You're going to see a little bit of black through this one. So I've filled that square out, and now I'm going to go back over it again, going the opposite direction, but I'm not pushing down quite as hard as I did with my previous square. So I'm getting close to done. Each one I've had to go over a couple of times. This one I went over 3 times. This one 2 times, maybe 3 times, but not as hard. Even here I went over it twice, but using less pressure. I had to go back a couple of times to rework these so that you could see a clear transition. It got light a little too fast. So you may have to go back and brighten things up. And then when you get to your last few squares, you're really applying this very gingerly, like very lightly, but you still want consistency. So I'm making like very small circular marks. It can be a little harder to blend them, so I'm going to have to go back through and kind of softly blend them a little bit. You can try to use an eraser here too if you get a little too dark, but the eraser isn't going to completely remove your marks. You can definitely go through and soften with an eraser a little bit too. And you can try to use your finger or a tissue, but again, it's not going to blend as well as just using your pencil. So I'm going to very lightly go back over this again. You should not be using your black colored pencil here. You should just be solely relying on the white colored pencil to do the job. And then the very last one, you shouldn't just leave the black of the paper, but it's your very lightest, or rather very darkest, right? So you should see the most black here, but you should see a hint of white. So it's your darkest square. You have to use your colored pencil very lightly, which again, it's challenging because how do you make that look smooth and blended? And it's gotten a little bit dark over here. All right, so once you have completed this exercise, you are then going to go on to drawing your ellipse, which is featured here. I'm going to make another video of this. I think it'd be easier to do it that way. So please go on to watching that next video once you have completed your value scale.